Hi, and Assalamualaikum. We're from the Kooka group, and this is Amir Azim bin Muazzan, and this here is my teammate, Al-Mustafi Majid.
Muhammad Adi bin Famdin Abdul Hanim.
My name is Muhammad Akram Shahmi bin Muhammad Shamsuri.
My name is Aiman Naim bin Muhammad Khairi.
And we're gonna start our presentation with a war cry.
Who we are? K-O-O-K-A Kooka. Good afternoon to our respected lecturer, Dr. Jamaluddin bin Salim. My name is Muhammad Naim and I'm here from the project representing from our team, which is Kooka. Today, our team is incredibly excited to present our comprehensive project plan for developing the smart franchise application for Aki Burger Sendirian Berhad. This project represents our core focus for our course, which is the software project management. Before we dive into the technical details, let me introduce the minds behind this project. Our 5-person team consists of me, myself, Muhammad Naim, Adib Irfan, Amir Azin, Akram Shami, and lastly, Majid. Project background. Let's look at the project background. Aki Burger Sendirian Berhad is a rapidly growing food and beverage business utilizing a franchise model. As you can imagine, a thriving franchise involves a complex web of stakeholders, including the core franchisor, individual franchises, raw ingredient supplier, agent, and of course, the retail customer. As Aki Burger expands, the volume of outlet and daily transaction grow bigger. Relying on manual management for this interconnected piece is becoming increasingly difficult, leaving room for bottleneck in order processing and stock coordination. Next. Problem statement. So here are the current problems that faced by Aki Burger. The first one is stock information may not be updated accurately between outlets and supplier. Customer order may be handled manually and become unorganized. The franchisor may find it difficult to monitor sales and outlet performance. Communication between stakeholders may be delayed. And lastly, franchises may spend too much time on manual records and reporting. This will impact the Aki Burger business, which will reduce the operational efficiency, increase human errors, poor decision making, and lastly, lower customer satisfaction. Next, key stakeholders. So to design a comprehensive solution, we first met out our key stakeholder and their explicit roles. So the first one is Aki Burger Management, acts as our primary client, approving the project scope, budget, and finance system. Second, franchises will use the app daily to manage local sales, order, and stocks, while suppliers will receive automated stock requests and update delivery status. Third, agents. Agents will support field coordination, and customer will gain a streamlined portal to view product and place order. And finally, our project team. Our project team is responsible for designing, developing, testing, and maintaining the entire ecosystem. Now, let's discuss the project scope. Our team is handling the end-to-end lifecycle from initial planning, UI/UX design, and development to rigorous testing, cloud deployment, user training, and lastly, initial support. The application itself will feature secure user login with role-based access control, real-time outlet monitoring, automated inventory alerts, seamless supplier communication channels, integrated payment notification, and dynamic analytic reports and dashboard for management. Next. So to execute this code flawlessly, we have this structure that our project team into specialized roles. So we have our project manager, business analysis, system analysis, UI UX designer, developer, and lastly our QA tester. Okay, so this section 1.2 is our planning highlight for the project charter, which is we highlight the three major pillars. First one is centralized system. We are building an integrated business engine that connect everyone from the raw ingredient supply down to the retail customer. Second, it's a 12-month schedule. Our timeline is strictly scheduled to run from January 2026 to December 2026. And lastly, an optimizing budget. We are operating on a baseline budget of RM 120,000 ringgit, strategically allocate for development talent, software subscription, testing, deployment, and crucial user training. So, RESI matrix alignment. So to maintain strict accountability, we develop a detailed RESI matrix spanning across all project phase. For example, during the initial phase, like requirement gathering and scope planning, the business analysis and project manager drive the execution while consulting closely with the franchisor. As we move into the technical execution, such as database integration, system testing, and deployment, the responsibilities shift heavily to our system analysis, developers, and QA tester. Notably, the project manager remains accountable for ensuring these milestones are met, while the franchisor retains final accountable status for user acceptance test and deployment approval. Next, I will pass to Majid.
Okay, thank you. So to start with chapter 2, I will begin with the project scope boundaries. The project includes the development of a centralized smart franchise application with secure rule-based access. Its main functions include franchise monitoring, inventory and stock alert, supplier stock request, customer ordering, payment integration, and notification. However, physical POS hardware, payroll systems, advanced artificial intelligence, and delivery fleet management, unapproved external integrations, and long-term maintenance are outside the current project scope. Clearly defining these boundaries helps us prevent scope creep. Next slide. This slide presents the overall implementation schedule. The project starts with initiation and planning activities, followed by requirements, analysis, and system design. After the requirements and design are approved, the team proceeds with application development. Testing and user acceptance testing are carried out before final deployment. This sequence ensures that each major output is reviewed before the project moves to the next stage. For our next slide. For our work breakdown structure, or WPS, the project is divided into 5 main phases: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and control and closing. Each phase is further divided into smaller work packages. For example, execution includes requirements and design, system development, testing, and deployment preparation. The WPS makes the project easier to manage because it helps us assign responsibilities, estimate cost and durations for the project, and monitor the progress of each task. So next slide. For our project timeline, initiation is conducted in January, followed by planning in February and March. Requirements and design are completed between April and May. System development is scheduled from June until August, while testing and deployment take place from September until November. Finally, project closing is completed in December 2026. Monitoring activities continue throughout the project to ensure that the schedule remains on track. For our cost estimation and budget, the total estimated project budget is 120,000 ringgit. The largest cost category is personnel at 101,800 ringgit because the project requires planning, analysis, design and development, testing, deployment, and support. 3,400 ringgit is allocated for software, services, and integration tools, while 3,600 ringgit is allocated for equipment, documentation training, meetings, and post-deployment support. The remaining 11,200 ringgit is contingency reserves for approved and unexpected expenses. All spending will be reviewed monthly against the approved budget. Next slide. So, for our human and technical resources, the project requires both human and technical resource. The core team includes the project manager, business analyst, system analyst, UI UX designer, developers, and QA support. Some team members may perform more than one function role during different phases. Technical resources include cloud hosting, database services, Figma, Jira, GitHub, payment services, notification services, and testing tools. Resources usage will be monitored to prevent excessive workload and ensure that critical tasks receive enough support. Next slide. So for our project risk registration, our register, the first risk is unclear or misaligned requirements. The second is scope creep caused by additional feature requests. We also identified integration problems between system modules and possibility of project expenses exceeding 120,000 ringgit. Each risk has an assigned owner and responsive strategy. Requirements will be validated through stakeholders sign-off. Changes will follow from change control. Integrations will be tested early, and cost will be reviewed monthly. Finally, the project requires external services such as cloud hosting, a payment gateway, and notification APIs, and independent security testing. Suppliers will be selected based on cost, quality, reliability, security, support, and scalability. For the stakeholders, they will remain involved throughout the regular reviews, prototype feedback, training, and supporting documents. This engagement is important to reduce resistance to the new system and ensure that the final application supports actual franchise operation. Thank you. Moving to the next person.
So on this chapter, which is project execution, the objective and core activity is to develop, which is transforming the approved scope into an application modules. And then we coordinate, which is aligning the dev team with franchises and suppliers. Next is activities, which is the requirement confirmation, system architecture, database design, and the model development for the system. And the control, which is manage issues and risks of the system through iterative testing cycles. On the deliverable and control, there's the technical assets, which is the design documents, the user interface prototypes, the database schemas, and the integrated modules for the system. The quality log will be about testing reports, the defect logs, and the user acceptance test sign off from client representatives. And lastly, there's the control methods, which is the weekly team synchronizations, task tracking, and risk reviews via RAG status. Next slide, please. So on the execution timeline, from month 1 to 2 is about mostly requirement confirmation. Moving on to month 3 to 4 is this designing the system. And the month 5 to 8 is the model developing. And the month 9 to 10 is the integration and testing of the system modules. And month 11 to 12, the last month, is to deploy and closing of the project. So the focus will be on the franchise, the order, inventories, supplier, and lastly, the customer. For the team management, a performance tracking is needed. So task assignment is for expertise-based task allocation per RACI metrics. Monitoring is weekly milestones and task completion percentage checks. Coordination is basically about centralized issue log in order to avoid assumption-based development. And lastly, performance, which is basically a continuous Q&A review for module acceptance of the system. Thank you. Moving on to the next chapter.
Okay, so we move on to the project tracking methods, which is we have identified 10 methods to use to monitor all aspects of the project throughout. the 12th month of the projects. So first thing, we will begin with weekly team meeting, which is we will review task progress and issues every Monday. Then we move on to second method, which is bi-weekly stakeholder meeting, which is we update Akibaga management and get approvals on the updates. Then monthly progress reports, the Gantt chart, which we also to compare actual progress versus planned schedule. Then fifth, task tracking to monitor status, which is which the progress that are not started, in progress, completed or delayed. Sixth, milestone review to confirm each phases achieve its expected output. Issue log, defect log, risk review, and the last one, change request form, which is to control all changes to scope, schedule, cost, or features. Then we move on to the monthly progress report, which is month 6. As we can see, the RAG status for our progress is amber. The budget is approximately about 120,000, which is still on track. And the task completed for this period is our franchise management module, which is we have completed on 8 June, order management module, 4 weekly team meetings, 2 bi-weekly stakeholder meetings, issue log and risk register reviewed. And the in progress or delayed, we have 2, which is inventory management module, which is in progress. And supplier coordination module will be delayed, which is the new deadline is on 10 July 2026. And for the next period, on month 7, July 2026, we will complete supply coordination module by 10 July, complete inventory module and pass to QA support, start agent management module development, and start customer ordering module development. And lastly, bi-weekly risk review, which is we will reassess R4 and R5. And for the major risk action and recommendation, we have identified, which is risk R4, which is cross-module synchronization errors. The issue is external supply system, which uses an old API format, not compatible with current integration method, and also known during procurement, which is the supplier did not share full technical details during the vendor selection, which will be impact to our project, which is an 8-day delay on supply coordination module and less than 10% of remaining times. That's why our status is amber status, which is no effect on other month 7 modules. R4 updated from medium to high probability. And the risk R5 is developer workload overload. The observation is about the backend developer focus on API feeds, risk of delays on other tasks if issue takes longer than expected, project manager monitoring workload weekly, no escalation needed yet. Okay, let's move on to Akram.
Last slide. Yes. Okay. Moving to section 5, project closing. The project will be successful if all 6 modules are completed and tested, delivered within 12 months within the budget of RM 120,000 ringgit with at least 95% of test case passing and user acceptance testing formally signed off by Akibaga management. The project may fail if the system doesn't meet the requirements at its budget or is delayed beyond December 2026. Before closing, we will conduct a post-mortem review, complete all the paperwork, release team resources, archive all documents, and hold a closing appreciation session for the team. Okay, for our reflection, the project chapter gave clear direction in initiation. Okay, the risk register proved its value in planning, as risks R4 and R5 were identified early and handled quickly. In execution, the modular development approach is expected to reduce integration defects. In control and monitoring, our 10 tracking methods give complete visibility throughout the project. For closing, formal handover and post-mortem are planned for December. Our recommendations are to involve franchisees from month 1, require full vendor documentation before selection, plan a 3-month post-launch support period, and manage future features as a formal phase 2 project. Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you.